Hello, everyone. Today, we're going to be talking about how to adapt your entire marketing funnel with AI. And it's really important not only because your funnel needs to adapt at a rapid pace due to things changing so often, but AI's created new ways that people find out, learn about companies, and even interact with businesses, which affects how you will create your own marketing funnel. So I'm Neil Patel. I'm the co-founder of NP Digital. We're a global ad agency, and today I have the privilege of having Matt Santos and Salo with us. Matt, do you want to give a quick introduction of yourself, and then Salo you can go after?
Of course, Neil. Yeah, it's always a pleasure to be here. Definitely not a new face to these webinars. I'm Matt Santos. I'm the Chief Product Officer at NPXL, which is our small to medium business division within the Neil Patel Digital umbrella. I'm responsible for the vision, the architecture around pretty much all of the different marketing campaigns, services that we offer to small to medium businesses. I'm very excited to be talking to you guys today about AI, agentic models, and ways that you guys can optimize your entire funnel.
Yeah, and I am Saulo Medeiros, VP of Marketing at NP Digital. Have been working with Neil for more than 10 years now. That's crazy how fast the time flies. And out of a curiosity, do you know that this is the 96th edition of our webinars? So
Oh,
since 2021, we start doing those, right? And then start picking up and doing more than once every month. And we are very close to the 100. So maybe
Amazing.
sometime soon we'll celebrate together.
that's awesome. I did not know that.
Yeah.
So if you want help to adapt with AI and scale faster with AI, whether it's building a roadmap to tailor your own funnel, whether it's for us to train your team, whether it's to just help execute and do it all for you so that way you can generate more traffic and conversions, just scan the QR code. It'll take you to NP Digital, fill out your information, and we'll get in touch with you. We operate in 20 plus countries. We have people all over the world, so we can deal with different languages, different cultures, and adapt based on that. Or you can just go to npdigital.com. And we see a lot of data. So when we're talking about funnels, we see data for enterprise businesses, we see data for SMBs, mid-market. We've won a lot of awards for the results we produce. So today, when we break down how to adjust your funnel and leverage AI, keep in mind it's coming from a place where we're implementing the things we're talking about today, and they're proven to get results based on what we're seeing with our customers. The new reality with marketing is users expect answers faster, right? Anytime you type in a search or looking for something, people want answers right away. And you're also seeing less traffic go to websites. You're seeing the AI or search engines just summarize everything for you. You're also seeing that content volume doesn't matter as much as it used to. They're looking for things like quality and velocity. And teams that used to, use teams that used to just do everything manually are losing to the teams that are leveraging AI to move faster. And right now, when it comes to your marketing, it's not just about talking about, hey, we're going to use AI to improve things because everyone else is using it and this is going to revolutionize everything. Sure, that's fine. But if you don't have an actual plan and you don't know where to use AI, we're seeing a lot of slop. And what I mean by slop is people are using AI and then finding them wasting hours and hours and hours a week correcting the issues and they're not finding efficiencies. But if you use it for things like predictive insights, so figuring out what to show your audience before they need it, we're finding things like that to drive conversions. When you end up building content for humans and machines and leveraging AI to help you with the process, we're finding efficiencies and companies getting better results. And you also have to think about workflows and systems. Right now, we're seeing a lot of organizations is telling people in marketing, hey, now that there's AI, what can you do for less now? Right? How many people are you going to end up canning, or how much less budget do you need? We're also finding that AI's created a whole slew of new channels and more work. So we're seeing that marketing organizations aren't really able to decrease budgets like a lot of CFOs thought. So today we want to break down how you can really adapt your funnel and modify your marketing so then that way you can be more efficient and generate more revenue. When you think about the funnel, and how it really works. In today's world, you create content, you hope that you get visibility in the AI summaries. If you don't, you're not going to do as well. In other words, you need those brand mentions. You got to figure out what questions people are searching for, whether you want to call them a question or a prompt, and make sure you're cited. You got to make sure the sentiment is better than your competition. So not only do you have to show up more frequently than them, but you need the sentiment to be much more positive than the competition. And you can adapt your messaging in real time. You can personalize the journey to each individual. And what you'll find is every campaign has multiple touch points. Before, the funnel was much more linear. Not as much in today's world. Someone may use Google at the same time as they watch a YouTube video about the product for reviews, then seeing what people on Reddit are saying that are actual users, and then doing a Google search and checking out your social media to see unboxing videos, and then they may end up converting on your website or through another channel as well. The funnel is much more complicated with AI, but you still need that funnel on your website because websites do drive a lot of sales, and you want to make sure it's as efficient as possible. And when we think about content, it used to be mainly human written. Of course, there was always machines or article spinners that can help you create content. They never worked that well. But if you look now, we're getting towards the inflection point where people are starting to use AI more than humans. And when you think about this, it's not that AI is amazing or bad. It's a powerful tool. When you combine it with the humans, we're seeing much better results. When companies are purely using AI written content, we're not seeing the traction that they would once expect. And you need to be careful with this because there's not just for blog content. People are also using it for the landing pages, for their funnels, and just creating tons of AI content that's not performing. But AI combined with humans, we are seeing it perform better than just humans or AI on its alone.
All right. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about how we can take action and how we can prepare a marketing team in regards of agentic models or better leveraging AI throughout the funnel. So the first thing we need to start thinking about are the individuals on our teams, the people handling the marketing campaigns, the day-to-day aspects. We need to start shifting the mindset of them being doers and moving them more into directors of intelligence. So what that encompasses is, first, we need to start dissecting what are all of the different tasks that they're doing on a daily basis and start shifting from such an execution heavy oriented mindset to more of an orchestration. So turning these individuals into orchestrators of systems and processes that can empower them to do more with less time. We want to start figuring out how to guide these AI models instead of competing with them. So building briefs, building prompts, getting better at prompts. We need to start focusing on problem solving, strategy, and quality control. So it's not just so much inputting with a prompt, getting the output and going straight to market with it, but really thinking about the strategy before we're putting in that prompt. What are examples that we could be putting to get a better output? And once there is an output, how do we spend our time now that was saved from the AI assisting us and put that time back into quality control to make sure that this output is the absolute best possible? And we're focusing on turning what your team knows into repeatable intelligence. So as you can see on the left here, this is a quick example of kind of that graph that Neil was just showing you in the previous slide around just purely AI written content versus AI written content that was prompted and thought about, very focused and then edited after the fact. You'll see there's a big difference in how that content is scored. So when we're talking about these AI systems, again, we're talking about entire systems, entire workflows. We're not just thinking about individual tasks. I think a lot of people still to this day leverage AI as just, hey, if I need a blog, I'm just going to go right into ChatGPT. I'm just going to type in, here's my topic, spit out the blog. And a lot of the times they may realize, wait, this isn't what I thought it was going to be. And what they need to understand is that it requires better systems in place to get a better output. So are you implementing proper SOPs, proper content briefs, content calendars, good examples, good statistics that you're feeding into the engine so that you're getting a better output? And then again, are you massaging that content or that output so it has the proper brand voice, the tone, the style that you're really looking for to really execute and drive the conversions or the tactics that you want it to. So again, this comes down to a little bit of like that AI slop that Neil was talking about in the beginning. You'll see on the graph on the right, larger teams are exponentially wasting more and more time with this AI slop because they're not putting in the time to design the proper systems. So one way you can start is running an AI literacy sprint. So here's a quick example. So in the first week, you can try identifying about 3 different repetitive tasks that your team or yourself may be conducting on a consistent basis, and figure out, are there ways that you can replace those tasks with some form of an AI workflow? But rather than just jumping right into AI and seeing how it can replicate or conduct that task for you, spend some time developing what would be the best prompts. What are the most well thought out prompts that I can put? What are the best examples I can give it? One of the best ways that I try to think about this, and I try and teach individuals of how to think of promptology, is the same way you're onboarding a new employee, right? When you're onboarding a new employee, you don't just say, here's your task, go and do it. If you're a good manager or a good director, you're going to give them a lot of context, a lot of training, a lot of ideation, give them examples of what a good output would look like. And then now you can go ask them, hey, now go see if you can replicate this or do it on your own. So think of AI in the same way. So when you're doing in this first week, this first sprint, identify these 3 tasks, create some different workflows, and start thinking about what documentation you can provide to create the absolute best output. In week 2, what you can do now is, based on everything you just did in week 1, now it's time to assess and build on those workflows. So how can you build either internal playbooks, internal sales sheets, internal forms of briefs, content, and then start researching deeper and planning how you can just continue to improve those prompts moving forward. You want to share those wins and refine the prompts over time, and then start presenting role-specific AI enhancements based on the outputs that you are seeing. The goal is not to just try AI. The goal is to level up each role within your team so that we're getting a lot better with these AI skills. 5 capabilities that we just need to start being conscious of as marketers when it comes to leveraging these systems and leveraging agentic models is, first, prompt mastery, right? We just need to start getting better and getting more consistent with prompting and seeing how these conversations are flowing with these engines, and starting to put more effort to get more strategic outputs from them. Data literacy is a massive one. I think a lot of us as marketers, that's kind of a skill set that certain individuals don't put a ton of effort into, but now more than ever, we just need to start getting better at how we interpret these insights, how we just give more feedback so that the next output could be even better. That can help guide better marketing decisions. Automation design. So how can we use these workflows and these systems and design them continuously? These are not static systems, these are dynamic. So we're going to continue to improve them to help free humans from these repetitive tasks. AI content strategy. So how can we blend our creativity, all the knowledge that we know, specific stats that may be proprietary to our business? How can we bake all of this into what we're doing to help develop much better outputs? And then ethical judgment. I think this is a big one. How do we build just consistent guidelines as an entity, as a company, around what we want our outputs to look like, right? It's just some level of governance so we can help protect our brand, help build more trust with our client base, and just build more authority over time. Prompt engineering. So when we come into AI models, we need to start thinking of them as an entire workflow, a step-by-step system that can help build more with less. So how can we structure these prompts to kind of map together? It's just not one prompt and one output every single time. It may be a series of prompts that's taking data and continuing to massage it over time to get a much better output. So structuring these prompts to guide that creativity and better accuracy. Adding context, examples, guardrails for consistent output. I think this is a big one. A lot of people just expect the AI to know everything and give the best example right off the bat. But if you can give it maybe a couple blogs or a couple of playbooks or a couple of different items that your team has built over time that you know this is a prime example of who we are, our brand voice, our tone. Try and feed it those examples so it has a baseline to go off of. And tune these models to respond to brand language and feedback. So a couple of different tools that you can leverage to assist with this at this phase are Claude. I think Claude is an incredible platform that can help with vibe coding and a lot of different ways to leverage AI. Obviously, ChatGPT and Gemini are also engines that can assist with the actual day-to-day workflows. Data fluency. So how can we take the data that's coming back and make the best actionable decisions possible? So you'll see here for neilpatel.com, a lot of people may think that AI is driving traffic for the content or the blogs or the thought leadership. But in all honesty, a lot of the sessions that we're seeing right now are around the tools that we offer. So Answer the Public, Ubersuggest, these different tools are attracting a lot of attention from AI because of the value that they're bringing into the marketplace. So start thinking about your brand in the same way. You may think GPT and different AI platforms may be bringing traffic to you for one angle, but it may be a completely different angle that your audience is looking for that you need to start positioning your brand as. So interpret the data from AI-powered insights, look into your Google Search Console, your Google Analytics, and figure out if these AI platforms are sending traffic, what pages are they hitting? What type of topics are they resonating with? And start figuring out ways to expand those topics. Spot growth trends, any friction points within your funnel and demand signals, and then help validate AI recommendations with human judgment. So don't just take it at face value, spend time with your team and diagnose what could be a better angle to leverage these tools to position your brand as more authoritative. So like I mentioned, different tools that you can use are obviously GA4, but you can also use Looker and Power BI as your data visualization platforms to help take that data, rinse it, and show it back to your team in a much more digestible format. Automation architecture is a huge part of what we're talking about today. It does require you or your team spending time thinking about what the entire workflow would have been for that repetitive task, right? So start thinking about all of the nuanced steps and figure out ways that those can still happen, but through AI and through workflows. So build workflows that run on these campaigns and these reports that can run 24/7 for you if need be. Automate handoffs between content, CRM, and analytics. I think this is a pretty cool one. You'll see down at the bottom, there's a tool called make.com. It's very popular in regards of creating agentic models. And what you can do with a platform like Make is, for instance, if you have an entire onboarding flow for your client base, you can take content that you've produced, help push it out through email. Once something happens within that action point, it can trigger an automation into your CRM. From the CRM, if it hits a certain stage in your CRM, you can trigger another action. So creating these workflows that are automated to help build a better experience for your own clientele can go a very long way. And finally, it's going to help free your team from those repetitive execution tasks, which is the goal of what we're all talking about today. You'll see the stat on the right. About 94% of marketers aren't even thinking about agentic or AI workflows in this manner. So this can be a huge competitive edge for you, not only from just a marketing standpoint, but from an operational efficiency standpoint to save your company a lot of time and resources. So some governance around AI, I kind of alluded to this before. Here are some quick hitting examples of how you can start to think about building some level of AI governance. So you want to help build smart and scalable content. So start thinking about combining human insights with the AI speed, structure ideas into repeatable frameworks and systems. Use models for ideations, drafts, repurposing, not just your final judgment. So tools that can help support that are Jasper, Writer, Copy.ai. Even Ubersuggest has its own AI copywriter as well that you can leverage within your Ubersuggest account. And when it comes to protecting your brand integrity and the quality of your brand, you need to really make sure that yourself or your team are reviewing every single output to help ensure that there is no bias, there's no hallucinations from the AI output. which if you don't understand what AI hallucinations are, it basically means the AI is just kind of creating its own information, which isn't based in any fact. It could be completely false. So make sure you're reading through everything to avoid any sort of hallucinations and ensure that the outputs are fully aligned with your brand. You want to apply internal guidelines to ensure safe and compliant usage. So if it's content, for instance, and you have some sort of internal content playbook about the do's and don'ts of your brand, make sure that the outputs are following those do's and don'ts to help save you time. And then document these approval steps before publishing AI supported work.
I can take this slide, Matt. And yes, following your thought process, I want to share this real case study from one of our customers. We end up winning the best SEO campaign at OMA Awards this year, and we're very happy with that. But what is really happening on every single market of all the attendees here or every industry is that people are searching and LLMs are providing answers. And because they answer in a very similar way to humans, like the trust level of those insights are very high. So traffic from LLMs tends to be more intent driven when it comes to sales or making a decision, etc. We always need to be careful about it, but what this case study show is by analyzing all the pages from this client's RefiJet, we identified that some AI SEO structures were not in place, even though they have like thorough content, a lot of content, and etc. So what first thing we did was to polish and to improve the AI SEO structure of this client, and then we start promoting it using the digital PR approach, mentioning that in several websites, and like all things combined end up generating huge success in implementation and people searching and good traffic going to this customer. But not just that, with all this new traffic from LLMs, the intent behind the search skyrocket and people start requesting more financial loans and etc. So this is big thing, and everyone should be doing that. Everyone should be looking at it. And on the next chapter, I'll be talking about on how you should apply AI on your daily workflows. Okay, so let's see that into practice. A lot of people say that the AI is not already there. Maybe AI is not 100% and doing like the creativity or filling up the gaps. And this chart on the left show like the broad analysis of marketers on how they're using AI, how they're perceiving AI agents. Okay, but the reality is the things are getting better and better every single week. I can give you an example. So I was using GenSpark the other week, and I found it very useful, but I used it the week after, and I saw new features for you to use AI to fact check their own AI producing content. So this is crazy how they're evolving. So you should be using every single agent, every single AI platform, experimenting, maybe not with your final version of content or not your final version of creatives, but during the process, experimenting a lot on that. And let me give you an example, okay? The next slide shows one simple N8N workflow we created for our own purpose, okay? So not sure if you noticed, but Neil is publishing one data-driven insight on his X every single day. Those are based on,
Almost every day. Almost every day. Sometimes we miss some days, but yes,
yeah,
close.
but it's been like more than 400 days very consistently.
No, we missed Sunday.
No way, seriously?
Uh-huh.
We break the record.
No,
Oh
we
my
missed
god,
Sunday. Yeah, we didn't break it, but yeah,
we break the strike. Oh, dude.
streak. Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, anyways, almost every single day. But imagine us being able to create a content, like a piece of content, like on our blog, related to that chart or to that research. All right. And what we did was, well, let's start experimenting using AI to produce that piece of content, and maybe we find it very insightful. Keep in mind, this is proprietary data. So, for the nature of this piece already is something unique. All right. So this workflow basically watch a Google Drive folder, and whenever we upload a new chart, it analyzes the chart, it creates the article, it extracts all the metadata, and also it publishes a draft on our WordPress available for our experts to review, to edit, to fine tuning, etc. before we publish. Okay, so there is always a human layer on your workflows, and you should have this point of attention. And whenever you're creating a workflow like that, make sure humans are involved, specifically speaking about creating content. All right. So, but this is just a simple example. Like, let's say you are a content creator, you can use whatever kind of input to ask AI to analyze that, come up with insights based on your tone, your brand voice, and etc., and come up with content for social media, for instance, for you to promote your services and products. Okay, and not just workflows, but daily activities like summarizing a meeting is becoming so basic and so important. If you can go to the next slide, Barbara. So those little devices, and I own one of those. Like, if you show me on the screen, like, this is Plod. In Plod, what it does is it summarize, records and summarize the meeting for you. But not just that, you can after connect with your systems and start asking questions about the notes you took on that meeting. So these are remarkable, because let's say you want to remind something that I was talking in a meeting like weeks ago. You can use AI and just ask, where is this meeting talking about this? Who told that? Who said this? And automate your to-do list. And these AI note takers are so good. They can interpret what you're saying, and they can extract to-do list items from things that you didn't say that you need to do, but based on the context, AI understand and say that in order for you to accomplish other items, you need to do this and that. So it's becoming smarter and smarter. And if you keep going, Barbara, to the next slide, you will see that even using Teams, for everybody using Microsoft as a corporate tool and etc., you can easily install things like the Perfect Wiki plugin. And what it does is it allows your team to use all the conversation going on every single chat and turn that into a wiki item. And you can maybe catalog prompts, processes, checklists, and etc. And that is organic and is available for your entire team to keep improving. Right. So those are just a few examples on how you should be using AI to optimize your funnel. And I will give you another example. Moving on the next slide, you will see that the easiest way for you to start experimenting that is asking AI to help you building those workflows. So this example here I'm showing you is just myself asking Claude to produce an end-to-end workflow that can take a Google Doc and turn into a draft inside my WordPress. All right. What Claude will deliver to you is a JSON file, and you can import on N8N and start tweaking the workflow to make it work. All right, you should work on some connections and etc. But this is the way to start. This is the easiest way to start. All right, and moving on the next slide, you will see how important it is for you and your team. If you are a manager, you should reinforce this behavior or of testing and trying new stuff. And on the right side, on the left side, you see like this is a GIF that I created using just the discovered board at Mid Journey. But this is random. But you can see like so much use cases on how AI can help you create a very visual appealing video out of a single prompt. And what you're seeing here on the middle is AI avatar that we are testing for Neil, because he recorded so many videos. And let's say us from marketing, we have some crazy ideas, and like, Neil, we want you to record that, this and that, and maybe he's traveling. He always prefer to record it, but maybe because of timing, we launched a short version of that, like a testing version of that using AI, and then we re-record that with Neil in person. So
And
that is
that we ended up recording in Brazil, if I'm not mistaken, the Hey Gen script.
exactly.
And I was there for events. Salo and I spent half a day in a studio, and Salo can attest to this. I was getting irritated because it was taking.
Too
I was
long.
getting irritated because it was taking way longer than the hour that it was supposed to take. But and when we finished it all, a lot of the Hey Gen stuff didn't work. And
Yeah.
what I mean by that is we didn't get the results, the quality wasn't what we were looking for, but we're still willing to test. Not everything that you do when you experiment is going to work out, and you have to be okay with that. And this was Salo's idea. If I knock Salo down, because he runs a lot of the marketing at NP Digital, if I knock Salo down and said, "Man, you failed and you did a terrible job, it didn't work," well, then he wouldn't keep experimenting. And Salo may have 10 experiments, 2 may work, 8 may fail, but the 2 that work make up for all the failures plus a lot more, right? So you got to keep experimenting and know that the majority of your experiments will fail. If the majority succeed, that means you're not experimenting enough.
Yes, exactly. And like a few months after, HeyGen delivered a new model, and using the same video, we could get much better results. So that's why I'm saying, like, you need to have a stock of testing variants for you to experiment again and again the platforms and keep improving your marketing. All right. So if you are a manager, incentivize this experiment first culture, and you win a lot out of it. And if you're just an employee or you don't have any direct reports, you should be responsible to bring the ideas to your manager, so you're managing up. Like, this is so important, and this will unlock a lot of growth for you.
Awesome. Appreciate it, Salo. So let's start breaking down areas of the funnel and ways that we can put action towards those steps. So at the top of the funnel, let's start talking about planning faster. So with AI-powered content briefs and content calendars, there's a lot of workflows that can be put into place to help automate an absolutely crucial step of your initial prompts, setting up some of the beginning aspects of your workflow. When we're talking about top of the funnel, guys, we're talking about still the awareness phase, areas of Google that are like the AIO section, informational types of queries or conversations. So starting to think about what are the themes, what are the audiences that you could be targeting at this stage of the funnel, and help baking that into your content roadmap in a matter of minutes. So using AI to expand these topic clusters is huge. One of my VPs of SEO, his name's William Kammer. He does a lot of these webinars with Neil as well. He talks a lot about topic fanning. right? And thinking about how AI fans out conversations and starts stringing these conversations together. So think about your topics for a blog in the same way. Think about what would be the initial prompt, what would be the initial conversation that some of your audience is having with a GPT or Gemini or Perplexity, and how that conversation progresses, right? So that's that fanning out concept. It's not just the first prompt. It may be a sequence of 7 different parts of the conversation that you should be incorporating into your briefs, into your calendar, or into a given topic for a blog post. Analyzing AI overviews is also a massive step that I think a lot of marketers are just overlooking right now. It's absolute low-hanging fruit. So what you'll see on the left is within Google AI overviews, what is the average citation resource that Google is pulling from? And you'll see there is a wide gap between blog style articles and pretty much everything else. So traditional SEO is still more than at play with affecting how you are viewed in generative engines. So continuing to create great EEAT content, blog style articles, incorporating certain aspects like TLDRs, FAQs, bulleted lists, numbered lists. These are all things I'm going to continue to talk about in this section. But audit what Google AIO is surfacing for any of your given keywords or topics, and try to identify what are the answers that are being placed in there. Who are the brands that are being cited? What are those citations that are already showing up? And just like skyscraper tactics back in the day, spot angles that you could take that are unique, that are different, that can one up what's already in that area of AIO to figure out how you can overtake that position. Is there a better content format that you could provide? Is there better evidence that you could provide, or evidence that may be missing, or statistics that you could be incorporating into your content that can help it stand out and take over the AIO placement? So mapping content to intent. So if we're talking top of funnel, we're helping earn basic AI citations like AIO, ChatGPT, helping understand what's already in there and how you can skyscraper it, right? So answer the emerging questions as clearly as possible. So what we're noticing for this section is definitely your informational blog posts, any of your FAQs, any information on that level. For middle of the funnel, we want to support evaluation with comparison charts, give more proof, give case studies, give testimonials, give real life examples of how your brand, how your service, how your product may be impacting your audience today and how it sets apart from the rest of the competition. And when it comes to bottom of the funnel, we want to address the objections and timing triggers to help drive better conversions. Create citable assets that AI can reference. I think this is big. Understanding your space is one of the most important things that you could do with starting with this agentic or this AI model of how you go about marketing and repeating some of your replicating some of your repetitive tasks. So what I mean by that is every single platform that we've talked about, Reddit, YouTube, Quora, X, whatever it may be, it may not be applicable to your space. You need to do research to understand what is being cited for your industry, for your brand, and go after those engines, right? Thinking Wikipedia is the end all be all for one brand may not be the end all be all for another brand, right? So publish original data, definitions, and frameworks that are going to apply to the different engines where LLMs are citing from. Embed clear explanations and structured summaries as much as possible. You'll hear us talk a lot about TLDR sections at the top of your blogs or at the top of some of your key pages. You may hear a lot about FAQs. These are all ways of structuring content in clear, explainable formats. Use visuals and short supporting references as much as possible, and cite credible external sources so AI can trust your pages. I think that's a big one. Outbound links have always been a big part of SEO. Leveraging outbound links in your content to reputable sources can just help create that web of authority. So AI knows that you are not just some dead end on the internet. You are somebody who can help pass information back and forth accordingly. And you'll see here in the middle, how is structured data helping with generative engine optimization? So you'll see across all of these different platforms, it is a majority that structured content is being cited more often than not. So by structured content, I'm talking about obviously leveraging schema as much as possible, but also just better structure within your metadata, better structure within your header tags, leveraging more question-based header tags, TLDRs, bulleted lists, tables, charts, FAQs. These are all forms of structured content that are feeding LLMs more than ever before. Optimizing pages for AI inclusion. So this is what I was just basically talking about. Use question-based H2s, FAQ schema, lead with a concise TLDR towards the top of your page, break down information, not just in text, but try your best to incorporate tables, bullets, numbered lists, shorter paragraph structures. Don't just do huge paragraphs anymore, and add clear expert signals and citations as much as possible. So if you have experts within your space, experts within your business, try and get quotes or ways to refer back to them to help build that authority within your platform. Here in the middle is just a quick chart showing the rate of growth to hitting the 1 billion daily search mark for the two major platforms, Google and ChatGPT. You'll see GPT has done it in an insanely short amount of time compared to Google, which took them over 17 years to scale to 1 billion users per day. So this is something that we definitely need to take notice of. I think all of us understand AI is here and it's here to stay. And more people every month are adopting it as part of their workflow. So repurpose content across platforms. This is what Saulo was just talking about before with how we are leveraging X to help feed content models that we're building out and vice versa. So try and turn long form assets into social posts, email workflows, and video pieces as much as possible. Don't have to recreate the wheel every time. If there's a topic that resonates in one part of your funnel, try and figure out how to replicate that through other areas of your funnel as well. Use AI to extract any snippets, angles, and variations that you may not be picking up on. And keep core messaging consistent while shifting tone and format between the different platforms. You can't just have the same exact tone on your blog, in your email, on your Twitter, on your Facebook, on any of these different platforms. You need to make sure that you are adapting that message and the tone of that message throughout each one so it feels like it's actually speaking to that audience, because somebody on YouTube is going to be different than somebody that may be on Reddit, right? So don't just copy and paste across. Take that core message, shift the tone, and then apply it throughout the different platforms. So you'll see here an example is maybe taking one of your blogs, finding out how you can convert it into a LinkedIn carousel, how you can turn that same topic into a YouTube script and produce a YouTube video off of it, and then also how you can take that blog and convert it into an authoritative Reddit answer. Don't just copy the link to the blog and paste it into Reddit. You'll probably get a moderator to delete that post, but find a way to convert the topic of that blog into a great answer on Reddit. And you'll see here the stat on the right is just showing the impact of repurposing content in a consistent manner, such as what I'm discussing, and how it impacts the average monthly social views across your platforms. Automate content pipeline with Zapier and Airtable. So you want to make sure you're syncing your briefs, your drafts, your approvals, and publishing them inside one consistent workflow. You got to see Saulo kind of giving you a look under the hood of that entire workflow that we built out. So thinking about how you can fit things in one workflow, auto assign these tasks, moving content into next stages, triggers that can help set reminders and quality assurance, and keep visibility across these campaigns to stay on track and measure success. Ubersuggest, Answer the Public. These are all tools that we offer that are already baking in a lot of different tools to support in this new AI world. There's ways that you can track across different prompts, different prompt fanning. There's ways that you could track your AI visibility score. There's a lot that we're offering to the public in regards of how you can figure out how your brand is playing in this space.
Yes, and now let's dive into the middle of the funnel, because
And
there's a
really
lot.
quick, Saulo. Tomorrow we'll end up launching the new keyword overview with Ubersuggest, which you guys will see, and it has a ton more AI features. So you'll start seeing all the keywords people are typing in within your industry into like ChatGPT and other LLMs.
Is a very, very good feature. and I wish I can have that before, but people will be excited for sure. And talking about tools, in the middle of the funnel, building tools with AI nowadays is so easy. And I'll give you one stat out of the curiosity coming from our marketing. Okay, we generate thousands of leads a day because of our tools. And another important thing is because AI overviews cannot just generate a tool for you immediately on the fly. They use to reference tools from other people when you're searching for something that is relevant to that. Okay, so tools will become one of your most efficient ways to generate leads over time. Not just organically, but using paid ads, you can easily generate hundreds of leads and fill your sales team pipelines just by advertising and sending traffic towards your tools. Okay, and this chart just shows what is how beneficial is before and after having tools, right? Of course, maybe the conversion rate decrease a little bit, but the overall number will increase because you're getting so much more demand. All right, and then you don't just use for generating the tools, but you use AI to enrich the leads that you're getting and updating the lead score based on the information it got. Right, this is another example of one of our AI specialists. He built this scraper that goes on every single lead on our agency, goes to the prospect website, scrape information, and start categorizing all the information, not with the labels and the profile, but AI also provide the reasoning why AI is classifying each lead on that way. Because let's say something goes wrong, we can review the reasoning and adjust the prompt to make the lead enrichment more efficient. Okay, so and a test we did before and after AI lead scoring, we saw a big improvement when it comes to AI assisting this process. All right.
And the general rule of thumb that we like using is we have AI score the leads first, the ones that they deny or say that are low quality, we have a human review it because people lie in their lead forms. So they could end up saying they work at this company and they have very little budget and it's tiny. And it's hard always for AI to detect because that company could be a subdivision of a bigger organization that is publicly traded, generates billions of dollars, but it doesn't show up on like the LinkedIn headcount because the people show that they work for the parent company instead of that division. So there's a lot of things that you need to do to verify if a lead is good, and sometimes AI is just off. So we like having it where it's AI first, and then we look at the ones that were disqualified, and then have a human review those.
Exactly. And we are using AI everywhere on our marketing. And this is just one example of a tool called Lindy.ai. And inside this platform, you will see a lot of templates of predefined agents that can do a lot for every marketing, every department of your company, not just marketing. Okay, and this is just a lead scraping example, but that's very useful because lots of contacts are out there, and outbound it's such a great channel specifically speaking when people need your service. All right, so if you find a way, if you find your ideal customer profile, using AI to automate that will increase your results for sure. But not just that, on the next slide I'll present something that I learned from a guy called John O'Catliff, and this is a personalization at scale outbound process. And what it does is at the beginning of the flow on the dark blue, it scrapes the website. The middle of the flow, it creates a content calendar unique for that brand. And at the end, it ends up sending emails using this 100% personalized content calendar for that brand. And eventually, like, we are spotting a lot of opportunities for our sales team. Of course, you need to be very mindful and careful when you're doing that, because if you do it wrong, can hurt your brand. But if you do it right, it can spot like hundreds of opportunities for you. All right. And then the next slide shows something else for you to use on your marketing, which is audience modeling. And one great tool to do that is Twilio Segment. And as you can see here on this little GIF, basically you have the contact information, in Segment can predict what is the next action of that lead, and can suggest you specific messages to send to that person. And this example is showing is using e-commerce as the base for the insights, but you can install that on your leads and start getting the AI insights for whatever company you have. So this will not just increase your speed, but also increase the quality of the output you're providing for your prospects. Okay, and you can use that for even current customers to prevent churn and etc. Right. So moving on, I just want to talk about this little chart. And we ask people, where are customers first discovering you? And people are discovering new brands and new products everywhere, not just on search, but on social, AI, and other platforms. So being an omni-channel brand and having an omni-channel marketing approach will unlock a lot of opportunities for you. All right.
All right, let's go through the final section, then I'll kick it back over to Neil. So, bottom of the funnel. How do we retain and expand clients? So turning conversions into repeatable sales playbooks is huge, guys. I think at the onset, once you have prospects on the phone or having messages with them, how can you leverage AI to notice patterns and to turn those patterns into talk tracks, and then take those talk tracks and pump them out to your different team members, whether it be messaging templates, tear sheets, playbooks, to help replicate good practice to help increase conversion rates. Capturing objections and winning responses, and having AI leverage that to help train your team on ways to help replicate what's working the most and help standardizing that as new process. And then feeding those new reps these proven scripts instead of just starting them from cold. So predicting churn and triggering. So this is now more post-sales. So once you have a client, how do you help understand what may be leading? What are the trigger points on either a phone call, in an email, or some sort of interaction with your team where you can understand, hey, I need help spotting early churn signals across either my usage, my support, sentiment with my brand, my product, my service, and having AI help create scores over time to help understand trends, seasonality, what are issues with either your customer support, your product, your service, and help trigger any sort of personalized sequences to help save that account long before it gets to the point of escalation. And help surface any expansion opportunities as well, right? So not only just predicting churn, but also a huge part of retention is building opportunities to expand the experience that they're having with your product or your brand. There may be other products that help synergize with the initial product they bought with you, right? So helping push out upsell opportunities, any sort of behavior that can lead to landing additional business. AI for upsell expansion is exactly what I was just mentioning, is how can we create agentic models and workflows that can help recommend any next step products, any features that they haven't been using, any features that could increase their experience with your brand, increase just the overall benefit of what your brand is providing, highlight power users and advocates so that you can reach out to them for any sort of case studies, any sort of way that they can become brand evangelists and help expand your brand. And personalize upgrade messaging based on any value moments that they've had with you. All right, over to you, Neil.
All right, so now is the time for you to build your own AI-ready growth engine. So you want to think about what to execute first to see results. And I recommend start with high impact workflows. When you think about the research you're doing, reporting or briefs or follow-ups, any type of workflows you can create to just make things more automated will save a lot more time and create efficiencies. You also want to document what's working for you, what's not working from you, learn from what's not working and start tweaking. And most importantly, you want to start training your team to, figure out not just, hey, we're using AI, but you want to train them to think about KPIs. What are we doing? And what is that impact on our bottom line or our revenue or our growth or profitability? So that way they can focus more on the stuff that's actually impacting the numbers versus not. Because when I go to most events, people focus on the stuff that they think is cool versus the stuff that actually impacts their main KPIs. But typically, when you think about things like workflows, it'll help save time. Saving time should help increase profitability because you can get more done with the same amount of people and reduce the amount of people that you need to hire. And if you need help to turn your AI strategy into revenue, because that's where a lot of companies struggle, not necessarily using AI, but actually producing real revenue from it, scan the QR code, fill out your information, or you could just head to npdigital.com and we would love to work with you. All right, Colin, let's get some questions. I know we're running a little bit behind schedule, but that's all right.
No, we're good. And Salo's been active answering questions on the fly. So the biggest question is, it seems as if there isn't like a magic AI tool that helps for all stages of the funnel, right? Like a lot of these AI tools are sort of niche or specific to certain, like the beginning of the funnel, the end of the funnel. So a question at the very beginning, when you talk about adapting the entire marketing funnel with AI, do you mean to implement AI workflows and automations on different touch points? And Matt, that was sort of pointed towards you because you kicked off the meeting speaking about all of that. So any thoughts there?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I would think of it as if there are larger processes that can be encompassed into a giant workflow, then obviously focus on that. You can use a tool like make.com to help create just large sequential workflows through an agentic model. But if you're talking about like just simply one of those repetitive tasks in one of those sprints that I talked about being content production or being email generation, those may be two separate workflows that you may want to build. So there's different ways to go about it. You can't just have one giant workflow that does your entire business for you. You're going to kind of have mini workflows that can kind of operate individually or even plug together.
Yeah, I figured. I don't know. Salo, do you have anything to add there or on to the next one? I think that was a good response.
Oh, you're on mute, Salo.
I think you're on mute,
Let's
bro.
go to the next one. That was a perfect answer.
Yeah, so here, this one also came up several times. Like, how do you train AI, whatever platform you're using, because we talked quite a bit about content, to adapt your specific brand voice and tone? Are there certain steps that we need to take? Can you upload guidelines and sort of rules for, let's just say, ChatGPT to make sure that the responses that are coming back sort of don't contradict with, what the brand guidelines might be? And Matt, that's probably another one for you.
Yeah. I think a lot of the time brands suffer from keeping a lot of that information in their head, which is kind of tough. So it does require a little bit of work up front for whoever your content manager is or writer is to spend time documenting and putting a real content brief together that can be the first upload, because you can upload documents directly into GPT and these different platforms that lets the GPT understand, like, who are we? What do we do? What's our differentiator? What's our brand? What's our tone? When it comes to brand and tone, you can't just say this is our brand. You can't just say professional or casual. You need to provide examples. So not only creating the brief, but then linking to examples so it can understand, okay, let me maybe give it 5 blog posts or 5 pages of my website so it can actually see how I speak. What are my language patterns? What is my tone? And then from there, that can help increase the accuracy of the output.
And correct it when it's a little bit off, and then also double check the work, because even if you upload all the brand guidelines, and no matter how thorough you are with the training, it still does mess up every once in a while.
Time
That's
for
actually
one.
super important. I think a lot of people right now too as soon as they get the output, they'll take that and then they'll go edit it in a Word doc and then go publish it to their website. It may be good to show GPT how you edited its output. So next time it can learn from what you're doing manually.
Here's one for Matt and maybe Salo too, because I think you're responsible for the automation, for the insights. Matt, I love Answer the Public and use it all the time. Any tips or tricks on how to leverage that data better when it comes to content creation? Could we not create a workflow to automate content production based on ATP suggestions and like, holy cow, like content at scale?
Absolutely. I think one of the slides I showed was talking about creating huge content calendars, and Answer the Public would be a great starting point. I talked about fanning out topics, right? So taking one of the conversation points, putting it into Answer the Public, understanding what are all the different fan out moments that may happen in those conversations, and leveraging that within your content calendar to figure out, are these individual blog posts? Do these maybe 5 categories need to all get lumped into one blog post? And from there, you could create an automation after Answer the Public that can help build out those calendars, those content briefs, and start pumping out that content.
Yeah,
And by end of Q1, you should see that actually rolled out. I'm hoping by end of Q1, rolled out within Answer the Public.
And Answer the Public.
Yeah. So content calendars. It instead of saying here's a list of keywords and it just keeps going and going, what we want to end up doing is say here's a list of keywords. Which ones do you want to rank for? Select it. And then based on your competition, your business, your site, your authority, it spins up content for you based on your brand guidelines, and then pushes it out, automatically publishes it to WordPress, Shopify, Webflow. I know we're working on those 3. And then, it's up and running, and then you got to focus on digital PR. I would love to automate digital PR, but the problem with a lot of the solutions that try to, they just do reciprocal links, which is spammy, and I don't want to end up doing that. But we are working on automating the content creation side. And then within those steps, you, of course, as humans can review, edit, etc. before it goes live, if you choose to.
Similar steps were taken for RefiJet and the ridiculous results that Salo shared earlier on in the presentation. So
Yep.
Good stuff. I think that's
Cool.
it.
I know we're running out of time. Appreciate everyone for attending. Check us out at npdigital.com. Hopefully we can work with you. Either way, we'll see you in a few weeks for another webinar.
Yep.
Take care, guys. Thank you.
Have a
Take
good one.
care.